I've heard tales of people going into the bathroom at Beacon Hill Park and finding a person cooking with a crock pot and having a machete.
Oh dear.
Just yesterday.
Oh no.
Yesterday I saw a tweet and I was gobsmacked. This father had brought his daughter to the washroom, checked out the washroom before he went in, and saw this guy in a dress shaving his testicles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Many parents have been tasked with weighing the mental health pros for keeping their children in school this fall against possible cons linked to the repetitive, worse than the first wave of COVID-19 warnings we've been getting. But parents whose children attend South Park Elementary in Victoria, BC, have a unique concern to weigh regarding the well-being of their children, and that is the ever-growing tent city that's located directly across the street from their children's school. Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, and this past weekend I took a walk through Beacon Hill Park. This beautiful park, which is described by Victoria.ca as the crowning jewel in Victoria's park system, has become less popular for families to enjoy. It's approximately 740,000 square meters of parkland is now being utilized as a tent city of over 100 homeless people. According to Victoria.ca, a court order was granted to the city that required tent residents to be reallocated within the park. While that was probably a step in the right direction, many feel it's not enough. Concerns about both the threat of the preservation of the park and the safety of the surrounding citizens are still commonly expressed by many. Stephen Andrew, a candidate running for Victoria City Council, told me that there is an increased police patrols in the park due to reports of increased criminal activity in and around the park. Many people reach out to him to say that they feel unsafe. On August 20th, CheckNews.ca reported that according to the police data calls, reports of mischief, weapons, street violence, and break-and-enters in the downtown core are on the rise. Another common concern when homeless encampments take over any public area is the risk regarding improperly disposed needles, especially given that this encampment is literally across the street from an elementary school like this one. Global News reported that on August 23rd, Victoria Police issued a warning to the public after a man walking through a trail at the park felt a pain in his foot only to discover he had been poked by an uncapped needle. Now, the city's mayor, Lisa Helps, sent a letter out to parents at South Park Elementary. According to CTV News, Helps said that the encampment tents are not in an appropriate place and that the city staff were drafting amendments to bylaws that would prevent sheltering in tents near the school. Now, with that said, many tax-paying residents are not holding their breath for Mayor Helps and are losing faith in her, especially after Mayor Helps and other city council members stood in favor of deferring enforcement of the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. bylaw that was designed to have the campers cleared out during the day. Over 25,000 city residents who still have concerns for the rare and sensitive ecology in the park, the safety for the local citizens, as well as who also wish to find an appropriate housing solution for the homeless, have come together to sign a petition to help save Beacon Park. The petition states that the City of Victoria is actually breaking the law regarding the establishing of a tent city at Beacon Hill Park. They cite an amended act from 1881 that states that the Beacon Hill parkland is to be maintained and preserved by the corporation and their successors for the use, recreation, and enjoyment of the public. This past Sunday, I interviewed one of the people who signed this petition. Her name is Janice Williams, and Janice is also an active member of the Save Beacon Park Facebook group, and she spoke candidly with me about her thoughts regarding this situation. I then walked through Beacon Park safely, I might add, since we hired security to walk along with me. Let's take a look and see what life was like at the park. You've lived in this area for a while. How long have you been in Victoria?
Well, I've been in Victoria almost 24 years.
So were you quite familiar with Beacon Hill Park? Did you frequent it?
Yes. I think everyone in the region is very familiar with Beacon Hill Park. It's, I'd say, the crown jewel of our park system. It's the biggest, oldest park in Victoria. And what many people don't know is decades have gone into restoring the ecologically sensitive areas of the park. And it's one of those places that everyone can enjoy. Everyone, if you're a toddler to a senior, and it's like the number one public resource in terms of parks in Victoria. So it's really disheartening to see it be abused and misused, and really disheartening to see seniors and kids unable to use it because they don't feel safe anymore.
Well, I feel nervous, and so I don't walk through the park.
And actually what sets it apart from other parks is it was given from the province to the city. So the city is actually a trustee of this park, and there's a restrictive covenant that governs the use of the park.
I can't stand it, to be honest with you. I think Beacon Hill is a local treasure and it's being destroyed, and our family can't go there and enjoy it. We actually wanted to take our family there today, and it just doesn't feel safe.
There's certain things that the park can't be used for. So historically, when there's been commercial activity, that's resulted in litigation saying, no, you can't have commercial activity in this park. It violates the covenant. And the court has stood up and said, yeah, that violates the covenant. It can't be used for that. Can't be used as an insane asylum. It can't be used as, there's a list of things that this park can't be used for. And my position would be it can't be used to shelter the homeless 24/7. And that the city has a duty to protect and respect that agreement governing the uses of the park, and really needs to investigate alternatives before the park is damaged further. And really needs to approach this problem with both a head and a heart. Right now, it's, well, they've got nowhere to go. Well, they were somewhere before, and they'll be somewhere after, and it's really up to the city to set the rules as to where they can or cannot be, and really up to the city to manage the issues. And I think that's something that both the provincial government and others have kind of said is, wait a second, you've got a responsibility here and you aren't living up to it. And it's really disappointing. And as a citizen, I think many people in Victoria feel really abandoned by our mayor and our leadership, because the rote response is, I need more money from the feds and the province. And I think it's apparent to many, well, even without money from the feds and province, there's things that could be done to manage the situation better, to actually help those who need a hand up, and to stand up and say, hey, we aren't going to be abused. Our citizens don't want to be threatened. Our citizens don't deserve litter in their public spaces, especially dangerous litter. And we really need to kind of stand up and go, we want to help you out, but we won't be abused.
What have the changes you guys have seen recently with Beacon Hill Park? What's your take on that?
Well, I don't come down here very much anymore. Yeah.
And a lot of the problems stem from the 24/7 nature of this, and how when someone doesn't have to pack up their tent every day, stolen goods get brought in. Hoarding becomes a problem. Damage to the trees and the other structures in the park becomes a problem. So a lot of it's the 24/7 nature of this. There was a bylaw that said, okay, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. you can have a structure, but then you got to pack it up. And I think that prevented a lot of the damage, and was kind of a balancing point. And I think one of the issues that the neighborhood is noticing is there's almost 100 tents and RVs and everything else, and that becomes really intimidating. If it was an occasional tent here and there, I don't think anyone would take issue with that. But it's these large groups, and unfortunately criminals tend to prey on those groups. So with that comes the drug dealers, with that comes the discarded needles, and all of that kind of stuff that a neighborhood has a right to say, no, we don't want drug dealers in our parks. We need to protect our kids.
What shall we say? people don't feel as comfortable walking through the park anymore.
Now, what about the change? There was a shift, there was an injunction, and some of the tents moved. Is that good enough? Or?
No, absolutely not. No. I think we have to get to the root of the problem, and giving shelter in our parks is a Band-Aid. It's not helping anybody.
I've heard tales of people going into the bathroom at Beacon Hill Park and finding a person cooking with a crock pot and having a machete.
Oh dear.
Just yesterday.
Oh no.
Yesterday I saw a tweet and I was gobsmacked. This father had brought his daughter to the washroom, checked out the washroom before he went in, and saw this guy in a dress shaving his testicles.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see all the changes. I worry about things like needles.
My understanding right now is that the city of Victoria itself does not allow city staff into the washrooms without 2 security people accompanying them.
Oh wow.
But there's been no public warnings. No, hey, public, this is the circumstance.
Might not want to let your kid go to the park bathroom.
Well, and it's sad, right? Because like I said, this is probably one of our best parks. There's a children's petting area, there's ducks, there's just yesterday I had a mom Sunday. My daughter was on a play date and he was like, I want to go feed the ducks in Beacon Hill. And it was kind of heartbreaking to say, we can't right now. I don't feel like it's safe enough right now. And I want to see the park usable for everyone.
Apparently there is at least one camper who is not camping at Beacon Hill Park for concerns for his own safety. So I'm here and I'm going to see if he'll chat to us about what those concerns might be. Hi, how are you? I'm Drea Humphrey with Rebel News.
Oh, you're with the news?
Yes, with Rebel News.
Yeah, I don't know how I've been put on BC housing list, so I don't know. No one's done anything.
How long have you been on BC housing list?
For years.
Years?
Yeah.
Like
okay, I didn't know. I thought you were BC housing people,
So it appears there is definitely an issue. Some people are on the BC housing waiting list, according to this gentleman, for years. And still not getting an adequate place to call home, according to them. Practicing journalism in areas of high crime does not happen without risk, and that's why we rely on our loyal supporters to help us bring you the other side of the story safely. If you'd like to help keep our reporters safe, please head to journalistdefensefund.com. We appreciate your support.